In this video, I'm going to show and teach you on a comprehensive guide of AutoCAD Essential for beginners and novice. Now, AutoCAD is a computer-aided design software developed by the company Autodesk. It allows us to draw and edit digital 2D and 3D drafting designs, model, and it makes us draw easily and quickly. Okay, this video is divided into 3 parts. The part 1, which is in this video, we're going to be looking on the basics of AutoCAD, starting with the interface. Now, as you can see, this is the Autodesk interface. Over here at the left, we could see our Open tab. Now, when we click on this drop down, notice Open Files, Open Sheet Sets, and Open Explore Drawing. So I'll just click on Open Files, and notice this takes me inside my desktop, inside my desktop computer. I could see various saved AutoCAD files I saved over here. So all I need to do is just to click on any one I want. I will see a preview of it. I'll just click Open, and it takes me to my file. Okay, for now, I'll just click Cancel. We have the New tab just below the Open tab. When clicked, okay, you can notice the default template, which are the CAD ISO template and the CAD template. Now, to have access to more templates, you just click on Browse Templates. Notice you can see the default template that comes with the AutoCAD. Now, it is mostly recommended you use either the AutoCAD or the one which is the AutoCAD ISO. Okay, now the AutoCAD ISO is normally a template that is used for metric systems. When you're dealing with metric systems, your meters, centimeter, millimeter, use this AutoCAD ISO system. Okay, it's mostly for metric system, while the AutoCAD is for imperial system, when you have measurements in feet, in inches. So just choose whatever template you want to start with. If your measurement starts with feet, you can go with this. If you start with meter, you can go with this. So I'll just click Cancel. Now, also when I click here too, I also have option to get more templates online. So I can click here, see our recent tab. Now our recent tab appears at this interface. Now this shows us recent files we've created or we have modified on AutoCAD. The most recent one comes at the top. As you can see, my most recent one is the new project. Now if I want to click to see other, I can just go over here, hold on this screen. I can see these are all the AutoCAD files I've been working on. Whatever one I want, I'll just click on it and open it. When I scroll up, I can see my recently made document. If I click over here, it is in list view. If I click here, it gives me the grid view of my recent document. I'll be opening this very document for this tutorial. Just click on it. Notice my document has been opened. Create a new AutoCAD file or a new file. You just click on icon. Okay, let's work with meters. I'll just choose this tab. When the new tab is clicked, it takes us to the AutoCAD Workspace interface. As you could see, an AutoCAD icon over here at the left. Now, when clicked on it, you could see some options. You could see the new tab option, the open tab, the save as, import, export, and the rest. You could go more by clicking here to get to see more option setting interface of the AutoCAD, and we'll talk more on this later on this tutorial. So I'll just click after the AutoCAD icon. You have the new tab too. You have the open, okay, which is used to open recent files. Now, when the new tab is clicked, this takes us to the AutoCAD Workspace interface. Up here is the CAD icon. Okay, when we click on the drop down, it gives us varieties of control options. You can see the open tab, the new tab, the open tab, the save, and so forth. Now, when we scroll through them, notice we have a preview of what it contains over here. To close here, you can just click here. It closes the AutoCAD. To view more options and more preferred settings, you go to options. Okay, now this takes you to a broader profile setting. Over here, you could customize wherever you want. You could save your file as whatever format. Of these settings here, a lot of them, you go to display, okay, go to save, plot and publish, system, and so we'll not talk much on here for now, but we'll come into it as we continue in this tutorial. So I'll just leave everything as default and I'll just click OK. So next after the Arcade icon is the quick access toolbar. The quick access toolbar contains tools, embodies tools that you can quickly access just by clicking on it. So you can see the save as, the plot. Okay, now I can decide to add more tools to my quick access toolbar. I'll just simply go to this icon here. I'll click on the drop down. I'll notice once I click, notice these ones that have been ticked are the ones that are over here, the new, the open, the save. Okay, I can decide to add any from here. So let's say I want to add open from web. I just click on it and I'll go back again. I want to add save to web, click on it. Notice these two icons pops up and it's been added to my quick access toolbar. They open from web and mobile, and the open and the save to web and mobile. To remove, I'll just click on it and I'll just unclick and I'll go back and I'll unclick. Okay, next is the share icon. Use this to share your files to your friends on AutoCAD, okay, as a link. Next is what we call the title bar. The title bar contains the name of the software, okay, and also the name of the project you're working on, and the name of the file you're working on. This file is AutoCAD, Autodesk AutoCAD 2022, AutoCAD YouTube script worksheet. This is the name of my project. Now over here is the search bar. If you have concept you don't understand, just have to go over here, type the word, okay, and you just press search. Let's say it is move, click over here, search. This search will give you the full explanation, the full concept of what move is, how to apply it, what this one function is. Over here is the sign bar. This allows us to sign into our Autodesk account. Okay. Now just below the quick access toolbar and the title bar is our menu. The menu bar contains various tabs. Okay, as you can see over here, you have the file, the modify, the edit, the view, okay, and so on. And each of these tab, when clicked, it opens a panel of different tool sets. Okay, when I click on it, I see different commands and different tool sets it contains. I can choose to hide, just going over here and clicking hide menu bar. Okay, I will go back. If I want to show it or review it, I will go back and click show menu bar. Okay, for the course of this lesson, we'll be leaving this as this because we'll always go back to this menu bar to activate or select a function. So I'll just leave it this way. Next, after the menu bar is the ribbon. Okay, now the ribbon contains various tools tab. As you can see, here has the home tab embodying the draw command group, the modify command group, the annotation command group, layers, blocks, properties, and so forth. Now when I click on each of the tabs, it contains their various command groups. As you can see, once I click, it changes, and so on. So going back to the home tab, as we progress, we will get to learn some of these command groups and their features and how they could use. Now just below the ribbon is the AutoCAD drafting workspace. Okay, over here we could draw our 2D and our 3D on this space. All we just have to do is just to select any tool and we just draw. So over here you can see now it also contains at top here contains the title of our project. As you can see, AutoCAD, when I scroll on it, it gives me tree preview, the model preview, the layers preview, and the layers 2 preview. We'll talk more on that as we continue. Now below is the model. Okay, as I was saying, the model contains the space where we draw. Now next is the model. The model shows us where we are to draw, where we can actively draw. Next after the model is the layout. The layout specifically is used for printing purposes. When clicked, okay, it shows us or gives us a preview of the printing area, the paper size, the orientation of the paper, the area of printing, and the workspace we are to print. Okay, I could easily access other layouts by just clicking on it. To delete a layout, I'll just right click. I'll just go over to this. I can create new layouts from template. I could delete, I could rename, I could move, I could do so many things to this. But for now, I'll just delete. Okay, now click OK. Now to create another layout, you just have to click on this plus sign and a new layout will be created. And next is the command field line. As you can see, there is a field here that allows us to input or to make searches. Okay, now this input line is used to search for any command tools to function in our project. Let's say we want to search the command tool like line, you just have to type it here. Notice once I type it, it shows me, it gives me a preview of whatever has to do with line. You can see line, line width, line type, line width, p line, and so forth. So whatever tool I search here, it simply gives me, let me say text. Notice what happened. It gives me, it searches and brings out a lot of text functions for me. This is basically used to search, okay, to get functions. Now the next is our status bar. The status bar contains tools that allows us to draw with correct precision. Okay, now if rightly used, okay, now each of these two in the status bar have their various functions. Okay, so it is in place for us to know which one to use and which one not to use. We'll do a separate video for this status bar so we get to appreciate how they work and how they are being used. Now to access more tools on the access toolbar, you click on this icon over here, you get to see various tools over here. All you just have to do is to click on it and they will be added. Okay, let me click the coordinates. Okay, notice it has been added. This shows me the direction of my cursor. Okay, let me remove it. I don't need it. I'll just go back, and I will unclick it. Okay, let me also remove some more. I will take away this auto scale. It goes out. Annotate scale. It goes out. I take away my units. Notice how once I unclick, they are being removed. Okay, so we will talk more on this on the now. Lastly, we have the navigation cube over here. As you can see, it contains the 4 cardinal points of direction: the north, the east, the south, and the west. Next after the navigation cube is the navigation bar. This bar contains various navigation tools. You have the wheel tool, you have this pan tool. And what does the wheel tool does? When we click on it, it comes up with varieties of options. This one is zoom, orbit, pan, and the rest. Now if I'm to orbit it, okay, notice I can drag it and change the view of my drawing. Now I'll just leave it as default. The pan is used when clicked, it's used to drag, okay, our workspace. Okay, you also have the zoom tool. This allows us zoom into our drawing. You click on this drop down, you get varieties of options of the zoom. You have the zoom extend, zoom windows, zoom scale, zoom in, zoom out. If I select any one, okay, and I click on it, notice my workspace gets to zoom out from my view. So if I change it to zoom in, once I click, it's zooming in. Next is the orbit tool. Okay, orbit tool, when clicked, it helps us change the works direction, just as I was able to access it using the wheel tool. So I'll just click cancel. Now I'll go back to my top view. Now let's talk more about the navigation cube. Now the navigation cube, as you can see, contains the four cardinal points. Is the top view. As you can see, this is the top view of this house plan. To access other view, I just have to click on this. As you can see, when I click on the front view, it gives me the front of my building. Okay, let me just bit around it so we get to understand. Notice this is the front of my building. If I want to view other views, let's say I want to see the left, I'll just click on it. Okay, this is the left. Let me zoom in. Okay, so if I want to access other view too, I'll just click over here. Okay, and this is the back of our drawing, so I could click on any of these to switch to any view of my choice. Okay, but for this tutorial, I will just go click to find my top view. This is my top view each side of our project or of any object we are drawing. Now, the second method of creating a new project in AutoCAD is by clicking on the Arcade icon. When we click, you get to see the new tab for a new project, so we can click on it. So when we preview it, it gives us are we creating a new drawing or a sheet set. So whatever method we choose can also be used for creating new project. Click on the arcade to just close the menu. The next over here in the quick access toolbar can also be used to create a new project. Okay, when we click on this, notice this is the new icon. Okay, so when we click on it, it allows us to create a new project. Another way we could create a new project is to click on our Start tab here. So when we click on it, it takes us to the interface type of the AutoCAD. So over here, we could still, just as the same way we did, we click on the new to create our new project. So I'll go back to my workspace. So these are the various ways we could create a new project, either through the arcade icon or through the new in my quick access toolbar or through the start tab. Okay, so any of these is used to create a new project. Or we could just click on our keyboard, Control N. Okay, when we click Control N, it takes us to choose the template. Okay, we want to just click open. Okay, this takes us to a new project. Either of these can be used to create a new project. Now, the next thing we have to look into is saving our project. And when we are done with our project, the next thing we have to do is to save it. And to save our project, okay, you can press Ctrl S for Windows, okay, or Command S for a Mac laptop. Now, or you could go access this save option through this quick access toolbar. As you can see, this is the save. Okay, or you click on this arcade drop down and you get to access the save option, which is over here. So just click on it. Okay, it will prompt you, it will save the project. If it's a new project I've not saved, a new drawing, let me just draw a rectangle. Okay, and now I want to save it. I click on it, it takes me to this desktop, whereby it prompts me to save my drawing with the name. This is the default name that's given it. I could just delete it. I could just say rectangle. Just type my rectangle. Okay, and I'll just click save. Notice it has saved my file and it bears the name rectangle. So this is how you can save any of your work. You can easily click Ctrl S. You can click on this quick access toolbar. If the save option is not there, just go over to this drop down and just add the save option to your quick access toolbar. Now the next thing is the save as. Let's say you want to save your project using another AutoCAD format, then we can use the save as option. Okay, to access the save as option, you could click Ctrl Shift S in Windows or Command Shift S in Mac. Or we could click on the file menu. You could see our save as option on the menu tab, or you still click on the arcade icon. You also have the save as option. You also at the quick access toolbar, you can see this is the save as. You just click. So I'll just use this one on the quick access toolbar to give an example. When I click on the save as option, it gives me this panel of control. Now over here I could change the name. Now notice what changes here. Down here it allows me choose whatever format I want. Now it is an AutoCAD 18 drawing. I could scroll down to choose whatever format or standard or template I want my drawing to be saved to. So over here now, just leave it as I could just go with this. Okay, notice it has changed. I can just click save. Now I have changed the savings of now I have changed the saving format of this project. So that's one of the ways we could use our save as option when you want to save your project in another format. Now after we have finished saving our project, the next thing we have to do is to close our project. So to close our project, you could close it by going to this over to this tab. You can click on this cancel, and once you click on it, this allows you to close the project. Or you could go over to this icon tab over here. You can see close. Over here it brings you to close current drawing or close all drawing. So let's say I want to close current drawing. Okay, it closes my current drawing. Now another way to also close your drawing is to go to your file tab. Okay, in the menu bar. So just notice you have the close option over here. You can just click on it and your drawing will be closed. So you can use any of these three methods to close your drawing. Now, lastly is to open a project. To open a project, we click on the Open tab at the Start screen. As you can see, you click over here. So this prompts us to open the style sheet and to open sample drawing. So I will just click on Open Files. This will take me to where my AutoCAD files are being saved. So I'll just click on whatever file I want to open and I'll click Open. Okay, so it opens the file for me. Another way to open file is to go to this arcade icon over here. Let's say you're in a drawing workspace and you want to open another file. You go to this arcade icon over here. You can see the open option. You click on it. Okay, so you come over here to whatever format it is saved in. Okay, let's go to our drawings. So you can see other drawings. You just click it to give you a preview of them. Let's say I want to open the drawing one file. I'll just click on it and I'll just click open. Notice another tab is formed over here. Now I can see the file I've just opened. Okay, I can see the file I've just opened. Now I can switch in between two files by just clicking on them. To switch, notice by clicking on the tab heads. Another way to open file is to go on the quick access toolbar. Over here you have your open. So just click on it and it will take you back to the file you want to open. Let's say I want to open the rectangle. I will click on it and I will click open. This form another tab here for me on my workspace, which is the rectangle. Now I'll switch back to my AutoCAD worksheet. Okay, now another way to also open a file in AutoCAD is to go to your file tab. You also have the open option, or you could use the shortcut Control O in Windows or Command O on Mac. Please subscribe if this video is helpful to you. It is ideal or recommended before you start your project, you should first set your preferred settings. Okay, so to set your preferred settings, you go to the Arcade tab, click on the icon. Okay, then we'll go to your drawing utilities. You can see different utilities of the drawing. You click on the unit icon. So this gives us a dialog box. So over here is the length type. So we could leave this as default decimal, precision as 0.0. Okay, units of scale for inserted content. This is the unit we are going to be using. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to be using meters. So we'll leave this as default. Leave this as okay, leave this as international. It is okay, and just click OK. Now our unit has been set to meters. Okay, AutoCAD 2D modeling. Now the first thing we're going to learn in 2D modeling is to draw a line. To draw a line, we can either type it on the command tool by just typing line. Notice when I type in the word line, it gives me a preview of different words that starts with line. I could see my line command over here. All I have to do is just to click on it. Okay, I could also access the line tool on my draw command group. I can see my line tool over here. Also, in my menu bar, when I go to my draw tab, when I click on it, I also have my line tool over here and other tools which we will look into in the course of this tutorial. Now I'll be using the line tool on my command. I'll be using the line tool on my draw command group. And you can use any options, is still the same thing. So I'll just click on it. Now when the line tool is activated, it prompts us to specify the first point insertion. So just specify this point and then we will drag. Now we have two dialog boxes, one containing the length of the line and the angle. Okay, I could put a specific length, let's say 600. Okay, now I will press tab to switch to the angle. I will click it as 0. Okay, which is 2. Okay, as 0, notice my line becomes a straight line. Now I could also go ahead and stretch and draw. Notice as I draw, the length and the angles are different. Now if I want to restrain my line to 90 and 0 degree, I could just go and I will activate my auto mode. Notice when my auto mode is activated, my line can only go on two ways. Either it's a horizontal line or a vertical line. Notice I can join a vertical line or join a horizontal line. It restrains the angles of my line, as you can see, to straight or horizontal. So I could just come over here, command line tool. I have the close and undo. When I click on the close, notice what happens. It closes the line. So I will zoom out for us to see our drawing very well, and I'll just span. Now we can add different lines, okay, so you can see. To add lines to this line, okay, to intersect a line to this line, okay, I'll have to click on the line command group. And notice when it is being clicked, okay, it asks me to specify the first point. Now I want to intersect the line I'm to draw with this line over here, but right now I can't get the precise point of this. So to get the precise point of this initial line, I will go and I will on my 2D object snap. So as you can see, it's over here. If you don't have it, if you don't have this icon here, you can go to this customization icon and click on it. And you can activate your 2D snap and 2D object snap. So just click on it and this two will pop up. So I'll just on it. Notice when I on it and when I go through it specific point, which is the end point, specifies the middle point and the start point. So whatever point I want, I'll just go over there to click. If the point I'm looking for is not here, let's say the endpoint is not here, I'll just go over to this object snap mode, click on this drop down. Okay, you can see varieties of points. So this over here is the end point. If I need this end point, I'll just click. If I need the middle point, I'll just click. So I'll just unclick all these points for now. Okay, later on this course we'll learn more about them. Now I'll just leave the end point and the middle point. So now I now have the end point and the middle point. So now I can be very precise if I want to draw. I'll simply click over here, okay, and I'll just draw down. Okay, as you can see, let's say I want to put this at the midpoint. Okay, now notice what is happening. I cannot trace here because auto mode is activated, so I'll just click the auto mode, and now I can easily trace to my midpoint like this. Now I can also trace back. Okay, now I also need to on my 3D tracking. Now notice what this does. When I drag down to this place, I can take reference lines from here. Okay, notice, and I want to join it with this, so I can also take reference lines from here. Notice how it joins, and it gives me a point where I could click, and I could also join to this endpoint. Now this object snapping tracks the important points in the line, the end point, the midpoint, and so on. So that's how we could join points in lines. Okay, I can also go over here to, let's say I want to add a line to this midpoint. Notice how it has pointed where my midpoint is, so I can just draw the line, drag the line. Okay, let's say I want to add this other one too. I also have the midpoint icon showing me. I'll click. Now I want to draw from this endpoint to this endpoint. Notice how it gives me a precise measurement of what I'm drawing. So with this, you could add lines to whatever line you're drawing. You could add, and you can also remove line. Remove line, you just click on it separately, and you just click delete. Now, the polyline is a tool. Very next is the after the line tool. The polyline acts like a line tool. The only difference is that the polyline acts as a whole section, while the line to act as a separate section. Now I'll be drawing a rectangle with the line tool and with the polyline tool, so to be able to illustrate this concept. Now I will select a line tool. Okay, they will ask me to specify first point, so I will join my rectangle at this place. I will click on it. I will stretch. Okay, let me make the length of, let me see, 2000. Okay, let me make this one. Okay, I will just on my auto mode to straighten my line on 90 degree. So I'll make this 1200. I'll trace to this point. Make sure my object snap is on. So I will trace here to get my reference line. And when I get it over here, so I will click here and I will drag it up. Notice I've gotten the endpoint of this my very first line. I'll just click on it and I'll press escape to cancel the command. Now I will go over to creating a rectangle with the polyline tool. So I will click on the polyline. I will say 2000. Okay, 1200. I'll just repeat the same process. Take my reference point, stop it here, and I'll paste it. Okay, so I'll just press escape. Alright, now this is the rectangle drawn with the line tool, and this is a rectangle drawn with the polyline tool. Now let's select our rectangle and notice the difference. So I'll select the rectangle. Notice when I select the rectangle, each separate part is being highlighted. Notice for me to select all the parts of the rectangle, I have to select each of the parts. And let's do so for a polyline. I will press escape to exit, and I will go to the polyline. I will click on any point on the polyline. So I will click on it. You'll notice once I click on the polyline, the whole section of the line is being highlighted. So the polyline acts as a whole section, while the line tool acts as a separate section. Now the polyline can perform various drawing options. Okay, now I will activate the polyline tool by typing PL, just this for polyline, I will click on it, say specify the first point. So I'll just drag this place a little up a little. I'll press escape. Now my first point will be here. I'll draw on my line. Okay, make sure it's straight. I'll make this 3000. Okay, I'll press tab to make my angle 0 so it will be straight. I'll press enter. I'll make this 1500. Okay, I'll press tab to make my angle 90 degree. I'll press enter. This my line is now straight. Now notice when I'm drawing with a polyline, I get this command over here. Okay, it says specify next point or as arc, close, half width, length. So I can click on arc. Notice it forms an arc shape for me with my polyline tool. So for me to switch the sides of the arc, I can press Ctrl. That's when I press Ctrl, the side shifts. Okay, so I'll just leave it as default. I'll come over here, press, let me see, 2000. I'll press tab. I'll make this 0 degree. Press enter. Okay, now it's still like a arc, so I can change the command section. Now this time I will make it to be line. It will go back to line. I will take my reference point from here. Okay, I will come over here, make sure my angle is at 90, and I will just click. I will make this 1500. Okay, I will enter. Okay, notice I will make here 3000. Notice that I will stretch down also. But let's do another arc. Okay, let's notice how my arc changes. Just stretch it more. Okay, so you could play with it. Okay, you could play with it. Let's go with the second point. Okay, now I could just go over here. I could on my auto mode, stretch it over here. I could just take my reference point from here, stretch it down over here. Then I will just extend it and I will lock it here. Notice how I've formed a line with a polyline, having a arc curve, okay, and also an arc curve over here. So you can draw multiples of line using the polyline. Okay, remember when I activated my polyline, I was asked for my first point. Okay, I was given a lot of options here. Now I'll be drawing an arrow using a polyline. Okay, so I will pan this up a little. Now I will activate my polyline. I will click at the point. Now notice I have arc, half width, length, undo, and width. So I will click on width. This time I will make my width to be 300. Okay, on the start. Okay, now the ending width will be 300. So I'll just stop it here. Okay, let me do it to 400. Okay, now I'll create another one. This time I'll make my width 800. Now I'll make the end point 100. Okay, now notice how my arrow is being formed. So this is how you can draw an arrow on AutoCAD with a polyline. You can draw several objects using a polyline because it's flexible. Okay. Now, the next thing we will look into is drawing a cycle or creating a cycle. Now, a cycle tool is found after the polyline tool, as you can see. To activate your cycle tool, either you go to the draw command group and click on the cycle icon, or you go to the draw tab on the menu bar. Just click on it and you can see our cycle. So either of this way, or we could just come over to the command field line and we could just type our cycle. Okay, and notice how it prompts out the cycle for us. So we can use any of these various ways to activate our cycle. And for the course of this tutorial, I'll be using the cycle icon on the draw command group. So over here, I will click on the drop down. Okay, now when on clicking, I can see various types of circles and method of drawing circles. We have the circle radius, we have the center radius, the center diameter, 2 points, 3 points, tan radius, and tan. So we'll be drawing a cycle using the first method, circle radius over here. Now we're using the radius of 6 centimeters, so I will go over and I will select this option. Okay, say specify the center point of the circle. So I'll just pick here as my center and I will type my 60. Again, I will click enter. But this is my cycle and the radius is 60. Next one says center diameter. So I'll pick a center and also pick a diameter. So I'll go over to my cycle, drop down, I will click on it and I will select this option, center diameter. I will select it. Then now I will click my center, okay, and I will choose my diameter 120. Okay, 120, I'll press enter. Okay, notice it's of the same size because radius 60 and diameter 120 is the same thing because the radius is halving of the diameter. The next option says center and 2 points. So I will click on my circle drop down. I can see my 2 points. So I will click on it. Okay, it says specify the first endpoint. So I'll click on it and specify the second endpoint. I'll just click. But before doing this, make sure your object snap mode is being activated. If it's not activated, you can just go over here and click on it. Okay, this is it. These two icons are being activated. And once after activating it, you click on this drop down. Okay, because we are dealing with points over here, points are referred as node in AutoCAD. So just come over here and we'll unclick all this, okay, and just click just the node. So just click on the node and we'll go out. So now we'll go back to our cycle and we'll choose 2 points. At this time, it specifies the first node, okay, and now the second node. Okay, now this is our cycle has been formed between these two nodes, same as the 3 points. So we'll click also here and go to the 3 points, and we have 3 nodes over here. So we'll click the first one, click the second one, and we'll click the third one. Okay, so we now have our cycle going and cycle around the node. Now the next one we have is the tan radius. Okay, so we can find that on still on our cycle drop down. You can see it tan radius. So we'll click on it. It says specified the object of the first tangent. So we'll just come over here. Notice when I scroll through this, I get this tangent side, this tangent icon on it. So I'll just click on it. It's specified object of the second tangent. I also click on it. Okay, and radius of the cycle. This time I will choose 25 as my radius. Now I'll click enter. Okay, so this I'll have to include my radius. So the next one says tan. So how do I do that? I also go to the cycle, drop down, and I will click the last option. Okay, this time you see specify the first point, okay, the second point, and the third point. Okay, now I've gotten my cycle. This is how you can draw your cycle on AutoCAD. Either of these methods can be used. So next thing we are going to look into is drawing an arc. Now the arc tool is found next after the cycle tool. We already know that the arc is the half section of a cycle. Now to activate the arc tool, either we click on the draw command group, you can see the arc icon here, or we can go to our draw tab on the menu bar, we'll click on it and we'll locate our arc. Or we could simply search our arc here, okay, type the keyword and notice it brings out the arc action. So either of these can be used to input or insert the command. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be using the arc on this draw panel. So when I click on the drop down, notice I have various methods of drawing an arc. We have the 3 point, the center, the start, center, and end, the start, center, and angle. So I'll be starting with this 3 point first. So I'll just click on it. Now once I click on it, they ask me to specify the first point of arc. Now notice, because it's a point, we're going to be working with node. And for us to work with node, we need to be very precise on how our cursor are being pointed at the node. Notice as I hover around here, I can't get a point to pin this node. So what I have to do to make this very precise, I have to go to my status bar. I have to include my object now. Then I'll just click on it. So I'll locate where my node is. Now I'll click my node, okay, and I will come back and I'll on it. So I just click on it to activate it. So now I will now come over, okay, I'll click on the first point, okay, then the second point. As you can see, our arc is being formed, and then the third point. So this is how we draw an arc using the 3 points. Next one says start, center, and end. Now to do this, I'm going to draw a line. Okay, I'm going to draw a line that will have a start, a center, and an end point. So I'll just draw a line. Let's make a line of 120. Okay, now I've drawn my line. I'll press escape. Now notice when I click on my line, I have my start, my center, and my end point. So I'll just go over here and make sure I highlight my end point, my midpoint. Okay, very, very important. Now I'll go over to my arc and I will select the start, center, and end. Okay, I will assume here as my start. Okay, here as my center, and here as my midpoint. Notice my arc has been created. The next one says start, center, and angle. So I will click over to my arc also, and I will locate the command start, center, and angle. I will come over here and specify the first point, which is here. Okay, then specify the center, is my center, and next is the angle. This time I will make an angle of 120. Okay, and just click enter. So you can make any angle of your choice. So this is an arc that comprises with the start, the center, and the angle that forms it. Next is the start, center, and length. So we just go over to the arc icon, click on it. You can see our start, center, and length. We click on it to activate it. This time we click here as our start point. Okay, then they say the next one is the center point of the arc, and next is the length. Okay, so I'll work with length of 120 millimeters and click enter. Okay, now the next one says the start, the end, and the angle. Remember the other one we did was start, center, and angle. This one now is start, end, and angle. So I'll go over to the arc command group and I will locate my start, end, and angle. I'll click on it. Okay, I'll assume here to be my start, or any point of this line to be my start. Okay, now my end point will be this point. I'll click on this point and my angle. Okay, so I'm allowed to input my angle. Okay, I'll be using 135 as my angle. I'll click OK. Now notice my angle has been formed. The next one is start, end, and direction. Okay, so I'll go over to my arc and I will locate it. Start, end, and direction. And notice this is our 2 points. Let's assume this is the line, and this is the start point, and this is the end point. Or let's say this is the start point and this is the end point. Okay, we just go to our start here and we'll take here to be our end, and now we get to switch the direction. We have to press our control. Okay, when we click control, this direction switches. As you can see, it now goes under instead of on top. Okay, so the next one says start, end, and radius. Okay, so we'll go over to and locate it, our start, end, and radius. So we'll go take here as our start, our end, then our radius will be, let's see, that's 120, and let's click enter. Okay, you see, notice our radius has been formed. So this is how we could draw an arc. There are still many more ways to draw an arc, but for this stage we could work with this. Okay, later as we go on we'll talk more on the center, the start, and the end. It's very simple. All you have to do is you have to first specify the first point as the center. All you have to do is first specify the first point as the center, then next is the start, and then the end. Same as the center, start, and angle. So you just have to follow the commands. So that's how we can draw an arc. Alright, now the next thing on our sleeve is how to create or how to draw a rectangle. Okay, now a rectangle is just if after the arc command 2, okay, you can see our rectangle icon. If you click on the drop down, okay, you get to see the rectangle or a polygon. But we are going to be talking about the rectangle. To activate the rectangle command, we click on this or we search over on the command field tab. Okay, we search on it. Then or we go to the draw in the menu bar. Okay, we click on it and we locate our rectangle. So as you can see over here, our rectangle. So either of these three ways are used to insert a rectangle. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I will be inserting my rectangle through the draw command field. So I'll just click on it. I'll just click on my rectangle. Now, when I click on the rectangle, I get to specify, I'm being prompted to specify first corner point. Okay, now if you look over here, you see chamfer, elevation, fillet, thickness, and width. Now, we'll not talk on this for now. Okay, as we progress, we'll get to know what this chamfer and this fillet and the rest of them is. So first, we just specify our first point. Now we can go ahead and drag. Okay, this is as we drag, the dimension of the length and the breadth changes. You can just drag randomly and place. I'm going to draw a rectangle using a definite dimension. So I'll click on the rectangle, I will specify the point, I will drag. Now I will make this 2000. Okay, now click tab to switch. Now I'll make the height 1700. I will click enter. Now I have drawn my rectangle with the length of 2000 and the height of 1700. Another way we could draw a rectangle too is by clicking the rectangle. Notice when my rectangle is being activated, okay, it asks me to specify the first point, so I do so. I get this icon, area, dimension, and rotation. Now let's work with the dimension. So if I click on dimension, it asks me what specify the length of the rectangle, so I will call it 2000. Okay, enter. Now specify the width. This width I'll make it 1500. I'll click enter. Notice my rectangle has been inserted. Okay, now next after the rectangle command 2 is a polygon. So we're going to be creating a polygon on AutoCAD. Now, to create a polygon, we can go to our draw command group. Okay, I will click on the rectangle drop down. We get to see, when clicked, we get to see our polygon. Or we could go to our draw tab, the menu bar, we could scroll down and activate our polygon, or we could go right over here and type polygon on the command field line. You see its icon as it pops up over here. For this tutorial, I'll be using the polygon on the draw command group. So I'll click on the rectangle icon and I will switch to polygon. Notice the changes I have here changed from the rectangle to that of the polygon. Now it has prompted me to enter the number of sides. Now for AutoCAD, when drawing a polygon, the number of sides ranges from 3, which is a triangle, to 124 sides. So you can only have a polygon of from 3 to 124 sides. So just click on the polygon icon. Now over here on this number of sides, we're going to be using 5. Okay, I will just click enter. Now it asks us to specify center of the polygon. So I'll be using the center of this circle. And for me to be able to get the center of this my circle, I will have to go and activate the center icon over here on my object snap bar. Okay, I will select it and then I will come back and you can see I have seen my center. I'll just click on it. Okay, then there's an option that asks me inscribed in a cycle or circumscribed in about the cycle. Now inscribe means to draw the polygon inside the cycle. So I'll just click this, okay, and I will drag it. Now the radius of this my cycle is 60, so I'll just put 60 and press enter. Notice my polygon on 5 sides have been inscribed inside a cycle. Now the next option is to circumscribe a polygon in a cycle. So I'll just click back in the command and I will click the same number of sides, which is 5. I'll click enter. Okay, remember you can also increase the number of sides to 6, 7, 8 till the maximum number is 124. So I'll just click on the center of the cycle, okay, and I'll click circumscribe about the cycle. This time I will draw, I will just say 60. I'll just say 60. Now press enter. Notice my polygon has been subscribed the cycle. Now I can also draw a polygon 7 sides. I'll press enter, which is a heptagon. Okay, I'll just click anywhere. Okay, over here I'll just click any of this option. Okay, and I'll just draw randomly. I could specify, I could choose my radius as 90. I'll just click enter. So I can go on and draw whatever polygon line I want, as you can see. Now the next thing we are going to talk about is the ellipse tool. Now the ellipse tool, just as other tools we have previously discussed, is found in the home ribbon at the draw command group. You will see the icon for an ellipse. Okay, so when we click on this drop down, we have 3 methods of creating an ellipse. The other way you can also insert the ellipse is by going to the draw tab at the menu bar, click on it and you locate your ellipse tool. Notice the 3 methods comes up here. Or rather, you could go to the command field line and search ellipse, just as other previous tools. But for this exercise, we are going to be using the one on the home ribbon. Okay, so we'll click on this drop down. We get the first method, which is the center method of creating ellipse. So we'll click on it. It says specify the center of the ellipse. So I will just go under here and I'll just pick a point as my center. Now an ellipse is made up of 2 axes. The horizontal axis, which is the X, is normally called the major axis, and the vertical axis, which is the Y, which is called the minor axis. So the horizontal axis, which is at the X direction, I will drag, making this axis towards the X, which is the major axis, 600. Okay, I'll click enter. Then I will go for my horizontal axis, which is the Y, which is 300. So I'll make this 300 and I'll enter. As you can see, this is my ellipse for using the center method. I will highlight it and I'll just drag it up, then off my auto mode. Okay, I'll drag it up to encircle these details here. So the next method is the axis and end method. So this time too, I will go back to my ellipse icon on my draw command. I will click on the drop down, okay, and I will select the second method, which is the axis and end. I will select it, okay. This place says specify the end point of the ellipse. I'll just click a random point, okay, and specify the other end point. This other end point is referring to the major axis, which is at the X direction. So I will just drag it to my left. Now, if this has to be in 0 degrees, so it will be in a straight line. Okay, if you can't get it, you on the auto mode to restrain your line. So I'll make this on my major axis, which is X 600. Okay, I'll press enter. Now I'll go for my Y axis and I'll make this 300. Now I'll click enter. Notice my ellipse have also be created. Now the last one is called the elliptical arc. To activate this, you go to the ellipse icon, click on the drop down, and you select this. Now we're going to make our major axis as 1200 and our minor axis as 1400. So now it says the message prompts us to specify the endpoint of the elliptical arc. So I'll specify this point, then I will just take it towards my right. I can move towards the left if I want to. I'll take it towards my right and I'll make this 1200 as given. I'll click enter. Okay, now it will be on my horizontal. I'll make this 400. Enter. Then I'm asked to specify my start angle. So I'll make this as 45 degree. I'll click enter. So I'll take it to this point, okay, or to any of these points of my choice. I'll just click enter. Now I have my elliptical arc has been formed. Alright, the next thing we're going to talk about is hash. Now, hash is a tool in AutoCAD that helps fuse an enclosed object, okay? And hashing only works on object that is enclosed. What I mean is, any object that is open, it cannot be filled with hash. It only works on objects that its boundary is enclosed. For example, if you see this rectangle, the boundaries are all enclosed. The same thing with the other. Now we have three types of hash. We have the pattern hash, the solid hash, and the gradient hash. So we will look into each of them. Now to activate the hash tool, we can locate it at our home ribbon. You can see this icon over here. It signifies the hash tool. So either through this icon or you can go to our menu bar, you can click on it and locate our hash. Another way we could apply our hash is to use this command tool, just as the previous command we've been searching, and just type in the word hash. Notice the hash word pops up. When I write it, it pops up. As you can see, hash, hash edit, all hash related words pops up. So for this exercise, we're going to be using the hash on the draw command group. So I'll just click on the command. Notice it opens the hash panel for me. There in the hash panel, I can see varieties of command groups and different properties. Okay, over here I have the boundaries, pick point select. Over here you can see some hash patterns. Okay, to view more hash patterns, I will click on this drop down. Okay, this takes me to series of more hash patterns I could use. So I'll just click out. Over here is from over here I could select the type of hash I want to insert. Okay, for this exercise I'm going to be inserting a pattern hash. If I want to switch, I'll just click on the drop down. Okay, I have the solid, the gradient, and so on. I also have the users defined. This one is when I decide to customize my hash. So over here I could select my hash color, whatever color I want to give it. I will select my hash color over here. The next one, it talks about the strokes, the borders of the hash, what color. I also have other properties. Okay, so for this exercise, I'm going to be selecting this very hash. So I'll just click on it. Notice what it tells me, specify center point. Which as I clicked on here, this triangle is enclosed. So the hash fills every empty space in this rectangle. So I'll just click on it and just click close hash. Notice my hash has been inserted. The next one is the solid hash. I do the same thing. I go over to this. This time I will select solid. Now I will just decide to fill it. Now notice how the solid texture, I could change the color maybe to red. Okay, I just click on it, maybe to red. I will click on it. Now when I'm done clicking, I will click close. Now the next one is the gradient hash. I'll go back also to the gradient tool. This time I will select my gradient. Okay, notice when my gradient is clicked, you notice a different patterns shows here. All these are different gradients I can work with. Right now it is between two colors, the blue and the yellow, same as it is here. So I can decide to change the color let's say I want to make this red, okay, and I want to make this blue. Okay, now notice the color now change. Okay, now I can choose any pattern of gradients I want. Notice they have different patterns. I can scroll down more to get to see more patterns. Okay, for this exercise I'll be using this. Okay, so I'll just go over to my space and I will click close. So notice the gradient is the mixture of two colors. Solid is a mixture of one solid color, and hash has to do with different particles going on the hash. Okay, so the next thing we'll look into in hash is the hash transparency, hash angle, and hash scale. Now notice in this example, the same hash pattern is being used. Now we'll see how the hash transparency comes to effect. So to make these changes, I'll click on the hash. Then once I click on it, the hash editor pops up. So I'll just go over to this transparency. This time I will increase the transparency to 50. Okay, I can just come over here and I'll just type 50. Now click enter. I'll just this is what happens after I've clicked my 50. The transparency of this hash has been reduced. So I'll move over to the hash angle. I'll click on this. The hash editor comes up again. This time I will change the angle. Let's say I want to make the angle. So this as I drag along, the hash patterns is being shifted towards the angle I'm dragging into. And let me click close so we will see what we have just done. Remember, I increased the angle to 21, so I'll just click close. Notice what happened. The patterns has changed, unlike this one that has been this original pattern or its original texture. Notice this one has slightly slanted towards the left. Now the hash scale, as you can see, can also be found in the hash editor. To get that, I just click on the hash properties and this hash editor pops up. So I can see my hash scale here right now is on its default scale, which is 1. Okay, let me increase the scale to 5 and I will click OK. Okay, notice what happened. The scale of my hash has changed. Now it looks more broader than before. So now the hash pick and hash select is a tool or is a function on a hash that helps users select the part or the segment that they want to hash. To understand this, let's click on the hash icon from our draw command group. So when we click, we can see over here the boundaries. Okay, click on this drop down, get to see some options, okay, restraining and non-restraining, but we'll just leave this as default. Now we'll have this icon over here that says pick point. And when I click pick points, notice what happened. Over here it says pick internal points. Now when I click over here, notice it picks a point on this enclosed one. This is a cycle. This part is inclusive, but because I say pick point, it only selects the point enclosed around it. Okay, I also pick this same point. Notice when I pick this point, it also encloses this part. This center is left unselected. Now let's see for the remove icon. When I click on the remove, okay, it asks me to select the object I want to remove. All I need to do is just to select this object and click enter, and it removes the hash from it. Now the next thing we are to look into is called the spline. Now the spline tool is found in the draw command group. Just as other tools we've discussed about, we can get the spline tool either by searching on the command field line, as you can see over here, or you go to the draw tab on the menu bar, as you can see our spline. So for this tutorial sake, I'll be accessing my spline from the draw command group. So I will click on this drop. Alright, now notice I could see some draw tools embodied in this drop down. As you can see, this is called the spline fit and the spline C. Now for me to use the spline fit, I have to click on it and then I come over to my workspace. Now I specifically put this point on for this tutorial so we could understand how flexible spline is and how we could use them. Today I'm asked to specify first point, so I just come to this point. Okay, but before that, notice I have to on my object snap so that once I click around this point, it will get highlighted. So I'll just come over here and click on this drop down and make sure my node is on. Now we're gonna go back, okay, and I come notice the changes. It has now carried a reference anchor on it. So I'll just on it at the first point. Second point is this, okay. How flexible it is, I'll go to the third point, then I'll go to the fourth point, and then to the last point. When I'm done, I'll just click enter. Now that's how we could draw with your spline. Now the next one is called the spline CV. Now let's see how the spline CV behaves. I'll click back on the draw command group. I'll click on the spline CV. Okay. Now I'm being prompted to specify first point. So I click on it. Okay. I click on the next point. The next node, notice the next node, the next node, and the last node. So when I'm done clicking, I will click enter. I'll press enter. Now notice what the spline CV does. It does not capture all the dots, while the spline sheet tries to connect all the dots. Now, the last thing we are going to be looking at is the insertion of points. Still as our draw command group, we'll click on the drop down, okay, we can see our points. So this has to do with multiple points. So we just click on it, it is specified a point. So we click at any random place on this workspace. Let's click here. Notice how our point is being created. So I can just go up and clicking, okay. Another way to insert a point is by searching it on our command field line. We say point, okay, notice how it comes out even before we finish spelling it. Or we could go to our draw tab on the menu bar, we click on it, okay, you can see our point. Now we can apply some effects or some changes to our point. So apply changes on the point. We go to the format tab at the menu bar, we click on it, okay. So over here we can see our point style. So we just click on it. Now it pops up a dialog box where which we could make some few changes to our point. Now in this case, I'm going to increase this to, let's say, 50. Okay, now we have two options here: set size relative to screen and set size in absolute units. Now size relative to screen is in the sense that once we select it and click OK, our points are relative to the size of our screen. Whenever we try to zoom, the point increases with respect to the screen. So I'll just choose the second option, which is set size in absolute unit, and I'll just OK. Notice how my point have changed. It has become a bit bigger and the pattern of the icon has changed. So this is how we can add points in AutoCAD. So if this video is helpful to you, please hit on the thumbnail, on the like thumbnail button, and please subscribe and be a part of this family. Alright, next we're going to look into is selecting an object. Now we have three methods of selecting an object. We have individual selecting, we have window selecting, and cross selecting. Now individual selecting is simply selecting an object by clicking on it. Okay, now I've zoomed in. Now this is an individual, this is a rectangle made up of individual lines, as you can see. To select each of these lines, I'll just click on it. Just as I click on it, the objects are being selected. Okay, so I'll just go on and click on the four lines that makes up this rectangle. Same as this, which is a circle. To select it individually, I will click on it. Next is this object over here. To select individually, I will click on each and every one of them. Notice how they have been selected. Now this is called the individual selecting method. Now the next one is called the Windows selecting method. Now the Windows selecting method is used to select various multiple objects. Alright. Now the unique thing about the Windows selecting object, okay, is that it only selects objects which it covers the entire entity. Now to activate this, we just click at the left corner of the object. Then click on it. Then notice when it is clicked, a blue rectangle region is being created. Now as I drag through the object, whatever part the rectangle covers is being highlighted. For example, if I click out, notice only this part is being selected. But if I click again and I select this, notice all the parts have been selected. Now let's apply the same selection for this cycle. I'll click on this, I'll select. Now notice I've covered half of the cycle, okay, but still it has not been selected. Let me click out and let's see. It has not been selected because the window selection only selects object it has covered or its entity. So for me to select this object using Windows, I will click again and make sure all objects are being covered inside the Windows selecting boundary. So I just click on it. Now it has been selected. I'll do one more example over here. I will click on it and I will select. Notice when I select it, okay, and I'll click out, notice only these three objects have been selected because only these three objects were encircled in the boundary. Alright, now I'll click escape to exit from the command. Okay, now the next is the cross select method. Now the cross select method is the most efficient method of selecting an object. Okay, when the cross selection method is being activated, it selects every object it touches. Click at the right corner and I will drag. Notice when the cross selection method is being activated, it forms a green rectangle boundary. Notice once the boundary touches any object, it immediately gets selected. This time I don't need to cover the whole object as the Windows selection method. I just have to just touch it a bit and notice it all gets selected. I will do the same for this object over here. I will click out, okay, and I will drag my towards the object. Notice immediately I touch the object, the whole sections are being selected. So I'll just drag it. Notice once the object is being touched, it immediately gets selected. So I'll just drag it to this point, okay? I'll just release it. And notice all my objects have been selected. Meanwhile, if I was using the Windows, okay, once I select, it only selects the object that it covered. If I stop here, notice it's only these two objects. The next thing we're going to look into is the move tool, as you can see, or the modify command group. Now the move tool is simply used to change the position of an object. Let's say we are drawing and we want to move an object from its initial position to another position. To activate that, we either select the object, and we will click on the move tool to move the object, which will prompt us to specify the base point, okay, or we could just click on move command. Okay, you can either click over here at the modify command group, which is inside the home group one, or we could go to the modify tab at the menu bar. We'll click on it and we will see our move tool over here. Or you could also search it on our command line field. So either ways can be used to move an object. So in this lesson, I'm going to be selecting the move tool. So I'm going to be selecting the move tool on the modify command group. So I will click on the move, which is they ask me to select object. This time I will just select this rectangle over here and I'll just click. Once it's been selected, it's the icon changes, and this time I will click enter. Okay, I'm being prompted to specify the base point. Okay, I could pick my base point as this. Okay, I'll just click on it. Notice how I can move my object to another position. While I drag, they ask you to specify second point. Okay, now the second point they are asking me to specify is the next point of insertion or the next point I want to move it to. So I'll just drag it to this point and I'll just release it. I'll just click enter to release. Now notice my object has been moved. Let's say we want to move multiple objects. So I'll just go drag it down. I want to move all these objects. I can simply move it by selecting all the objects. I'll just select all. I can go to move. This time you are asking me to specify the placement. So I'll just specify this point as my base point, how I can move the three objects together. So this is how we move objects on AutoCAD. Okay, now the next thing we will look into is rotating an object. Now to activate the rotational tool, you have to the modify command group. You can see this very icon. It says rotate, or we could go to the modify tab at the menu bar. We click on the modify tab. Notice you could see our rotate command, or we could search it on our command filter, rotate, okay, and it comes up. So this time I will be using this very option. I will click on it, and the next command it tells me is to select the object, which is the object I'm to rotate. So I will select this very object and I will click enter. Remember, once I select it, it shows me these dotted lines. Okay, so I'll just click enter. Okay, and now the ask I'm being prompted to specify the base point. The base point is point at which it will rotate from. Okay, if I want it to rotate from this corner, I'll just click on it. If I want to rotate from this midpoint, I will choose here as my rotate point. But this time I'll be using this part as my base point. So I'll just click on it and I will just turn it. Okay, this as I drag it turned, or if I want to be more precise, I could just input in my angle as let's make it, let's say 90 degree. Click enter. Notice I have rotate my object. Okay, so we rotate our object to any angle we want. Let's say we want to rotate our object to the angle of 225. I'll select the object, go to my rotate icon. Okay, I'll specify here as my base point. All right, this time I will stretch it and I'll write 225 and I'll click enter. Now the next thing we are going to rotate is this object over here. As you can see, the landscape of this wall is inclined, and we want our object over here to be aligned with this very inclined wall, the reference function in the rotate command. So I will activate the rotate command. I will select the object and I will click enter. Okay, now I'm asked to specify the first point, so I'll specify this point as my first point. Notice this icon comes over here, copy and reference. Copy simply means our selected object to another place. Let's click on it. Notice my object is being copied. So we're going to choose the option reference so as to rotate our object in line with this inclined wall. So I will click on reference. We ask to specify the reference angle. So click on this point and the second point, this point. Then I will put my angle till I get to this point and I will click. Notice the box has been rotated in line with my wall. So this is how you can rotate an object using the reference. The next thing we'll look into is the trimming of an object. Now trimming is simply removing unwanted parts in an object. Okay, now we could see this is a rectangle and this is a circle combined. Let's say we want to remove this part of this object. Okay, the way we could do this is to activate the trim object. And the trim object can be found in the modify command group, alright, or we could find it on the modify tab in the menu bar. You can see our trim over here. Or we just type TR on the workspace to locate our trim, and it gives us this command. So in this exercise, I'll be accessing my trim from modify command group. Notice this icon that looks like a scissors thumbnail. So I'll click on it and I have to select object to trim. Now I want to take out this particular part of this circle. So I will take it out. Notice it has been removed. I will come over this also and I will click on it. Notice I've trimmed out that object. Okay, now I'll come over here too. I would like to trim some parts of this object. So I will come here, I will click here, and I will come here, I will click here. Alright, notice my object has been trimmed. I can also trim here too, and also trim here too. And I now have this shape. So trim simply removes unwanted parts or removes parts in an object. Okay, so I will look into another example. Now I'm going to be trimming out these other lines. So I'll activate the trim tool. Okay, this time I will trim up this, I'll trim up this, I'll trim up this. Okay, let's say I want to trim out this part at the same time, so I'll just select on it and I'll just drag down. It gets trimmed. I'll select and I'll drag down. So you notice I can trim multiple objects using this method. Okay, I'll just click here and I'll trim. Okay, now the next tool we're going to look into is the extending an object. Now extending an object is simply the stretching an object, okay, or the elongating an object to meet another object. For example, we have this vertical and horizontal lines. Let's say we want these horizontal lines to meet this line. So the tool we could use to do this is the extending tool. Now to get the extending tool, go over to the modify command group, we click on the drop down. Notice when the drop down is being clicked, we have the trim tool and we have the extend tool. So we select the extend tool. Or we could go to our modify tab, okay, and we can see our extend tool. Still, we could still search it on our command. So either tool can be used to extend. So once the tool is being clicked, it prompts us to select object to extend. Okay, right now I will be extending this object. Notice when I click on it, it extends to the opposite object. I'll click on it and I will select the other object. Notice it all extends there on both sides. Now if I click again, it looks to for the next object to extend to. For example, when the command is still active and I click on this, notice it still gets to extend to the next line. Now just click Ctrl Z to undo. Now I will be extending this line to touch these circles here. Okay, to do that I'll have to activate what we call the boundary function in the extend tool. Now when the extend tool is being activated, notice we have what we call the boundary edges. So I will click on it. Okay, and it will ask me to select the object. So I'll select this very object. I will click enter. Now I will now come over here and I will select the objects I want to be extended to this very circle. So I will click on them. Notice once I select them, they all touches the corners of the circle. So this is how we can extend lines to meet other objects. The next thing we're going to look into is the erasing or deleting an object. Now, to erase or delete an object is simply removing an unwanted object. So to do that, we go over still the modify command group. You see this, we have this icon over here. It's called the erase tool. You can also find it in the modify tab at the menu bar. When we click on it, we can see our erase tool over here, or we could simply search it on our command line field. Just type eraser over here, our erase tool pops up. I'll be selecting the erase tool from the modify command group. So I will click on it and this prompts me to select object. When I select any object. Notice it shows this red cancel sign. This red cancel sign signifies that that object will be deleted. So I'll just click on it. Notice the object has been deleted. If I want to delete all these objects at a time, I'll just click somewhere and I will stretch down and take it to my left. Notice the objects have all been deleted. Okay, leaving a trace of line of it. Alright, now I'll go further to delete these other objects. I will click and I will select them all and I will notice they have all been deleted. To delete this circle, I'll just click on it. I'll press enter and notice once I click enter, both the traces have all been deleted. I will click Ctrl Z to bring back our drawing back. Now when the eraser tool is being selected, it prompts me to select the object I want to delete. Now I'm going to be selecting this circle over here. So I'll click on it. Notice once I click on it, it fades away, notifying me, telling me just this object will be deleted. So when I click there, it all goes away. Now I will be deleting all of these lines. So to do that, I will select my eraser tool. This time, instead of selecting it individually, I'm going to select all of them and I will click enter and immediately my lines and circles have all been deleted. So this is how you can delete your object on AutoCAD.